Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us. Hope you had a great weekend. Well, now that we have the National Assembly in place, it always was in place, but I'm talking about the 10th National Assembly. Now that the principal officers have been sorted, we now begin to look at what exactly will be expected of them. The complete set is now in place. We have the Senate President and his deputy, and, you know, the particular configuration of that. There was a lot of concern about this whole business, this faith ticket thing, and the presidential, ticket being what it was, is still a same faith ticket. It was felt that, look, we got to do something when it comes to the National Assembly, and indeed, in that sense, Senator Akpabio, who is the new Senate President, he just fits that bill. We talk about this, what is expected of them, the task ahead, and how well placed they are for the task, because there have been, I won't say concerns, but there have been commentaries that, look, is it going to be business as usual, or are these legislators in both houses, are they going to well, Nigeria is their first constituency, but at the same time, those that come from their very constituencies know where the shoe pinches and have elected them and sent them to the National Assembly to look out for them. Okay, things are very, very tough in Nigeria today, as you know. There's the removal of the fuel subsidy. We just got a warning this morning. I'm sure you've seen the papers. Electricity charges are about to go up come July 1st as well. In fact, there was some talk about, combined running of households now is going to be in the region of something like 70%. 70% of household expenses will now be going on electricity if all of this comes on stream, which actually it's going to, because the idea is to take out subsidy altogether and let's begin to live a realistic life. We've been on easy street for quite a while, and now we have to do the needful. So the National Assembly is going to be there, going to be watching out for us. And I have as a guest this morning a former member of the House of Representatives who is, quite conversant with the way lawmaking goes and the whole supervisory function, regulatory aspect of the honorables and distinguished senators. And I'm talking in this context about Honorable Kehinde Odeneye. Honorable Odeneye is a former member of the House of Representatives, as I said. A fine morning to you, Honorable.
Good morning, Uncle Yori. How are you?
Very well, sir. Thank you for making time for us. So,
it's my pleasure.
Indeed. The very important arm of government, the legislature, is now in place. And, when I say very important, it's because that's where, in a sort of a sense, you could say that's where power lies. And people look towards a harmonious relationship with between the executive and the legislature. However, whereas people want a harmonious relationship, people will also frown at what they think of as a rubber stamp kind of legislature. So it looks like there are these countering forces. Now, why people might be concerned is that the presidency, the executive, the presidency, the party, and the president were quite influential in deciding who the heads of the two houses shall be. And so there are some concerns, and I want to take your opinion on this, that, look, these people necessarily have to be appreciative, never mind gratefulness or not, have to be appreciative of the role that was played by way of influence in their emergence. Can these people then can they make hard calls if such calls need to be made, which might be what their constituents would expect of them? What would be your sort of thoughts on that particular question, Honorable Odeneye?
Yeah, once again, thank you, Uncle Yori. Let me quickly congratulate the Senate President and his deputy, Senator Akpabio and Senator Barau, and also my very good friend, Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, and Honorable Kalu for their emergence as the leaders of the two arms of the National Assembly. Yeah, I understand your concern and the concern of several other people out there about the influence of the presidency on the selection and election of the leadership of the National Assembly. Let me quickly say this. In every democratic setting, I don't think there is anywhere the presidency will fold his arms and allow I won't say just anybody, but that will allow an opposition to be the one to determine the leadership of the House. But let me also say this, that as far as 10th Assembly is concerned, regardless of the influence or the connection of the party and the presidency, you will look at, if you look at it from this angle, that the election of the Senate president and the deputy was keenly contested by two very good personalities from the party, from APC. That's Senator Akpabio and Senator Yari of Zamfara State. And the two of them, one, they've been former governors and now senators. Akpabio was a senator sometimes ago and now a senator again. So you will see that if you're talking about influence, you will realize that that influence did not make too much difference because that election was keenly contested. And do not also forget that other political parties are also in the Senate. Some of them voted for Yari, some of them voted for Akpabio, regardless of their political differences. Even APC members voted for Yari, while some voted for Akpabio, and the same way it happens to other political parties. In the House of Rep, for the first time in the history of House of Representatives, you will see a situation where out of 359, they were not up to 360 on that day because one is late already. So out of 359, we have 353 voting for Honorable Tajuddin Abbas. That goes a long way to let you know that that particular event was beyond the influence of either the party as APC and the presidency. Although I would tend to agree with you that the president also, for the first time in the history of democratic setting in Nigeria, had to call both the opposition and his party members for a meeting where he laid down his programs. The essence of the presidency coming into this is not because maybe an opposition was going to take over, not that, but to set out his program and to say that, yes, we must work together as executive and legislators. Let me quickly say this again, that I said earlier that there's no way the presidency or the party will fold its arms and allow anything to happen contrary to what they would have expected to happen, because both the executive and legislator must work hand in hand, not to the extent that the legislator, as some people will view it, will be a rubber stamp, but to the extent that there will be understanding and the legislator will come on board to know the programs, and the vision of the presidency and be able to key into it. Because where there is a problem between these two arms, it is Nigerians that will suffer for it. So, and because the president, is somebody that is really fully prepared for governance and wants to deliver to Nigerians a very good dividend of democracy, he has to call for a meeting with both chambers and lay down his programs and visions for making a better Nigeria known to them and calling them that we should be able to work together. So I do not exercise any fear, and therefore whoever is thinking that this National Assembly will be a rubber stamp, I want to assure that this is not going to be, but they will work together for the betterment of Nigerians.
Well, thank you, Honorable Odeneye, and for emphasizing on that point, because it's not just in Nigeria. It is an issue that people sort of evaluate how vibrant a National Assembly do they have. When I say vibrant, again, that could be taken different ways. But at the end of the day, as you said, the president needs to, have a kind of relationship that would be supportive of his vision. But then we're very lucky in this country in that President Tinubu is a known diplomat. He knows the limits of power. He knows how to be a democrat and not exceed the limits of power. So all of that is sort of taken for granted, I hope. But at the same time, it's a genuine concern that will people, because of their attitudes in these regards we're talking about, some of them over there, will they, now veer when they don't need to veer? I recall, let me tell you, let me just remind you about, I'm sure you know already, the Mandela example, where upon winning the election all that time ago, back in the day, Madiba was heard to observe that, he was so happy that he didn't win by such a majority that he didn't need the opposition. That, thank God. So we shall have an interesting situation. Are there any likenesses between that and this, where I just finished speaking about President Tinubu and his credentials in democracy? A lot of National Assembly members also have high credentials in democracy. So this whole area, what are your thoughts in that regard? Because we still have to work with opposition parties.
Yeah, I quite appreciate your question. If you look at the stance and the posture of the president, as you rightly put it, he is a Democrat. And a Democrat is someone that values the importance of an opposition. Because, you see, when you're just alone, there are times you do not even know the feelings out there, because you just have a vision, you want to let that vision come true, and you just have your own people alone. But where you have the opposition will always put you on your feet at every point in time. Meanwhile, if you look at the emergence of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you realize that the opposition also played a very good role in his emergence. Not even the G5 alone, but right from beginning of the election process, the opposition, let me quickly say this, that even the opposition determined the emergence of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. One, if Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of Labour Party, had not moved from PDP and he had remained probably to be the vice presidential candidate, maybe there would have been an issue. The election might have not gone the way it went, but as God will have it, he moved. So that is opposition one. Again, as God will have it again, the G5 issue came up on board, and you will see the role that the G5 played along with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And that is to let you know that even right from beginning, before his emergence, he has started playing the politics with the opposition, knowing fully well the importance of opposition. So, but having said that, and giving it to him as a Democrat, a complete one for that matter, you see that I foresee a situation whereby President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is going to work hand in hand with opposition. He said something, and he said, and I will quote him. He said, "Do not pity me from this day." That was on May 29th. I applied for this job, and I know right from the beginning what the job entails. And what that job entails, what I think it means, or it meant at that time he was making that statement, is knowing fully well that there is a battle ahead. This battle includes that of opposition, and he is ready for the battle. And if you look at the way Bola Ahmed Tinubu started the whole thing, you will realize that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is fully ready for governance.
Okay.
And that is why, on a daily basis, in the last few days that he has become the president, we are briefed, we are given an update of his activities. And all these activities, I don't think anybody in Nigeria has spotted anyone, even including the opposition. Everybody, including the opposition, has applauded him for all the steps he has taken so far. And that shows clearly that Bola Ahmed Tinubu realizes the importance of opposition and is going to work together with everybody for the betterment of Nigeria.
Okay. Now, Honorable, let me bring on our viewer, the first caller this morning, Mr. George, calling in from Lagos. Fine morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori, and good morning to your guest.
Yes.
Uncle Yori, the title of the discussion this morning is not going to be business as usual. I thank you for bringing it up. Now, there has been some things that are of concern to some of us, which previous NAS failed to address, such as increasing budget estimates. The executive will bring a budget. Instead of scrutinizing the budget to realign it or to, make it viable, the National Assembly will increase it. Not only just increasing, they will increase the one that is dedicated to NAS, to National Assembly. Year in, year out, that is what they do. There's also this what I want to call paddy oversight attitude. Over the years, we have not seen where the oversight committees in the National Assembly has pointed out serious infractions by any MDA. Doesn't mean that they are all doing well, and yet we know that budgetary provisions that have been made in previous years is what they keep bringing forward as if it is every year they buy computers and all the rest. Is it going to be like that again? And we are also aware, Uncle Yori, of these dubious constituency projects. In the first place, constituency project is not in our constitution. They have more or less entrenched it. But even then, taking for granted that it has become a norm, do they even have these constituency projects? What is the guarantee that the money being, earmarked for these projects actually go to the projects? You look at the constituency where you live, for example, and ask your representative, where is the constituency project that you have in our constituency? In the place I live, I don't see any. So I would be glad, Uncle Yori, if you could bring the spokespeople of both House of Reps and Senate to this program one day. Let them tell us
Indeed.
how it is not going to be business as usual.
All right, then.
It's very important.
Indeed. Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. George. And, before your request, we have with us here an honorable member, past honorable member, so we can actually tap into his experience there. You heard the presentation of Mr. George. I don't know the order in which you want to take them, but this constituency, taking the last point he made first, the constituency project, it's how do I put it? It seems like a mysterious heading. People don't know anything about it, apart from the honorable member himself. So what's going on there? You might want to start from there.
I appreciate the submission of the last speaker. And let me also say this, that yes, Nigerians are getting to be more aware of the activities of the National Assembly, but I think the civil society organizations need to do more, and also the National Assembly spokesperson also need to do more in enlightening Nigerians of the activities of the National Assembly. Let me say this, the constituency projects, one, there's always this misconception that monies are given to National Assembly members. No, I am saying no, because no money is given to any National Assembly member for constituency project purposes. Rather, there are provisions made in the national budget for various constituencies to have projects that will have been suggested by the members and senators representing the various constituencies and senatorial districts. These National Assembly members do not have any role played in the processing of the project or the implementation of the project more than
Okay, it temporarily hung there. We'll get it back as soon as possible. But in the meantime, good morning to you, Mr. Mohammed, calling in from Abuja.
Good morning, Uncle Tori.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, long time. I totally agree with the speaker, to our guest. I greet him, and since Buhari came in, there is no provision for National Assembly members to collect money direct from government for their constituency project. Rather, they put the money into their budget, and the ministry now do the job for them. Not that, except, and then don't forget, the president we have now is a politician. He knows all those tricks and whatever. I think he will continue with the current situation that is going on. Because if you give them the money to do the work by themselves, I don't think the project will be done correctly. They will be shady this in the project. So I think I prepare and then I support this way of appropriating the budget, the money of the project into the budget, and then they now just asking to tell the ministry where one social project to be done. And then the ministry will now go there and do the work. It's only just to supervise this. I think that is the only thing that Nigeria will now feel the impact of their representative in the National Assembly. I think. Thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mohammed, calling in from Abuja there. I wonder if we've got Honorable Odene back yet. There was a dropout in the audio. He's a former member himself of the House of Representatives, and that's why he's valuable, because actually I'm intending to sort of lean on his experience.
Hello?
Honorable Odene. Yes?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, now we can hear you. While you were away, a call came in supporting your position that, look, he's happy for what the situation, the way it is, the way you explained. He almost said that, God forbid, that you should hand over money to any individual on account of the whole constituency project. But let me lean directly on your experience in the House when you were there in relation to what we're talking about.
Yeah.
There's this whole...
Can I go ahead?
Well, okay, yes, please. If you had something to say, yes, please go ahead. What did you want to say, sir?
Yes. I was actually explaining the process for a network issue. And what I was explaining as a former member is that we only get involved in the constituency project when we suggest those projects. And we also monitor.
Yes.
Ensure are eventually executed. All the projects are usually executed because the funds, enough funds, Ministry of Agency, so done usually, but sometimes that are not auctions or supplies. There are some that are trainings and all sort of things. The speaker that spoke before this last person may actually be correct. He didn't see, he's not seeing anything. Depending on the project we are talking, if it is training, if we are
okay, Honorable Odene, the audio has gotten a bit choppy, so let me use the time to take Reverend Dominic, who has called in from Alimosho, I believe. Good morning, Reverend.
Good morning, Yori. Good morning to your guests.
Indeed.
Yori, let me say it straightforward. I don't have any hope or trust from the National Assembly. If you can hear me, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I don't have any hope that the National Assembly of Nigeria can make any difference. Since 1999 till up to date, it's in record. This parliament has only vetoed one bill, Niger Delta bill, and that was 2003 or 4, Passenger time. There's no history that this people have said yes or no to the executive, which is positive. That's by the side. George said, talk about constituency projects. They live in Alemosho here. And if there's anybody that could be visible in Alemosho, it's me. I've not found one road. I've not found one borehole. I've not found where they patch a road and call it constituency project. I've lived here for years. So if I have not found one, they have to, my representative here should point it out. Is it the road or water or borehole? That's by the way. I want to sound this warning. I supported this government just as I supported the last government. That our history in Nigeria is always strength. When Buhari came in 2015, there was national acceptance that he will change, make things happen. Mm-hmm. Our president has come now. Some of his policies is very good. But I'm afraid when he appoints ministers, appoints advisors, appoints everybody, would they have the same spirit? If anybody tells you today, Yori, that after Buhari left office, we'll be talking about the monumental corruption. If we died a few years ago, we wouldn't believe it in the land of the spirit. It's not about the head of state most of the time or president. It's about the lieutenants that work with him. And this so-called National Assembly, I don't mean so-called National Assembly, who will start parting. You go to any civil service office or servant office, the table they are using since 20 years ago. If you go to any civil service office, if you hear what I'm saying, this civil servant, the table they are using 20 years ago, as they are still using today. But if you go to budget, every year they are budgeting for that table. Every year they are budgeting for that table. And if you still go there, the same old table, the same old chair, but there's budget every year on that issue. Who is at fault? Is it the executive or the parliament? I don't believe in the parliament of Nigeria, but I think I have some hope in Mr. President. Finally, Yori, before everywhere in the world, you pay for utilities. Anywhere in the world, you pay for utilities. But Yori, you pay for a utility that's available. How do you want to increase tariff of power, which is not available?
Well, Reverend Dominic, thank you very much. You put quite a lot on the table there. So I'll come back to our guest, Honorable Kehinde Odeneye, former member of the House of Representatives, right after this break. Please stay with us.